Here's my shorter, seamless voiceover version, paced for 8 to 10 minutes at 0. Told in a plain American voice with a clean 3-act arc and a mid-script twist. I keep names as in the last draft. I was the punchline at a Sinclair off Highway 19, cottonwood heat sticking to my shirt. Card reader chirping like a smoke alarm, transaction denied. Try another card, the attendant said. Not unkind, just tired, and the line behind me started doing that little shuffle people do when they want blood but won't say it out loud. I tried the second card, then the third. Same sound, same glare. Somebody snorted something about Instagram, rich real money pays cash, you know what I mean. And I kept my face still while my ribs felt like glass, because I knew exactly why those cards died at the same time someone had found me. Before I could step out of line, 2 little voices cut the air. Clean, we can pay for him. I turned, and there they were, twins, maybe 8, braids and light-up sneakers holding a unicorn jar dotted with stickers. We got $15 and some change, our grandma says, if you can help. And it's right, you help. And their mom rushed over, mortified. But the quiet one hugged the jar like it was a shield and said, "Please, he needs to get where he's going." I knelt, tried to make my voice gentle. "What are your names, Zoe?" "Zuri," they said, and something in my chest cracked open. In the good way, not the breaking the seed kind of opening. I slipped a 20 into their jar, thanked them, promised I'd pay them back 1,000 times over, and the line, the laughter, the phones, all of it felt small compared to those 2 kids standing there, like the universe sent them on purpose. By the time my tires hit the county line, the photo was online, hashtags, doing their dance, billionaire. Beggar captions writing themselves serves him right, fraud, karma, yeah, that happened. I wasn't going to look. Then a message buzzed from a number etched into my bones. Enjoying the attention, Caleb disappearing. Didn't work out so well, maybe accept that some secrets are too heavy for one person. M. Mason Vale, my co-founder. 13 years of boardrooms and product launches, the man who helped push me out when I said Helix Forge had crossed a line. The second text came colder, cute little heroes at the gas station. Cottonwood is small, would be a shame if your mess spilled onto their family, don't you think? And I set the phone down, not in fear, in focus. 3 months earlier, I had opened a folder that felt like electricity, not sparks, current hidden contracts, bundling location data with creative services, backdoors labeled with friendly words like optimization and risk, algorithms deciding who got a job, call, and who didn't, who got pulled into a database and who slipped by no consent, no appeals, just scores that followed people like shadows. I built a dead man system that week, a rotating code every 72 hours, or the archive blasts to reporters in 6 countries, my seatbelt and my parachute. But after Mason dragged 2 kids into it, the seatbelt turned into a spear. This wasn't just about being right. This was about protecting the only pure thing I'd seen in a long time. At 2:13 a.m., I slid into a diner booth across from Maya Rios. The reporter who made senators sweat hair, tied back backpack on the vinyl seat, recorder clipped to her collar. "You look worse than your memes," she said with a half smile. And I pushed the briefcase over, contracts, subcontracts, shell invoices, risk meeting recordings captured by company devices. If you print without checking, we lose. If you check and we publish together, we win, I said. And she flipped pages, eyes running quick, then slower, Caleb. If this holds, it's not a bad app. It's an operating system for cheating. Elections nudged by dark scores, hiring filtered by neighborhoods that never got to testify, location, resold as creativity. Everything we warned about worse, and I nodded, told her Mason found me hinted at pressure on the twins, and we sat there while the waitress refilled our coffees, and the clock ticked loud enough to count. "We do it right," Maya said. "We certify metadata, lock hash signatures, chase bank trails across borders, synchronize publication, no hero narrative. Just proof the public can touch," and I told her about backdoors. I left when I thought redundancy was just good engineering. She raised an eyebrow, and now I said, now they let sunlight in. Morning, I walked into Riverside Elementary and asked for the principal, Lorraine Pierce. 30 years of hallways and discipline slips sharp eyes, Mr. Ward. "I know who you are. The girls told me we teach kindness here, not virality." And I told her I believed there might be pressure. Not the loud kind, the paperwork kind. Sudden inspections, landlords getting chatty, soft hands that still leave a mark. "I want to fund security upgrades quietly and seed an endowment for every student. No forms, no hoop jumping. Just yes." She started to say no on principle. I cut in, "This isn't PR. This is amends and insurance. The girls didn't ask what I drove or what I was worth. They saw a neighbor and chose to help. I'm going to choose back." And we shook hands, a contract written in spine, not ink. In a glass tower 2 states away, Mason sat in a circle with executives and a security lead who never quite left government work. The marketing guy clicked through slides about sentiment. "The story is playing public thinks. Caleb is unstable memes. Outperform projections. If he yells conspiracy, it reads as cover. The security man was blunt. We have eyes on him. Motel routes, habits, third-party pressure will make him show his hand. Keep it clean," Mason said, "and don't get caught." I wasn't in the room, but I knew the language. We spent years laundering words until they didn't mean what they meant. Risk meant people, optimization meant pressure, moderation meant a hand on the throat. And that night, I wrote code like a prayer, pushed a listener into the pipes. I built mirrored emails out of Helix Forge when they hit the magic words. Reputation. Narrative shield. By noon, my secure server coughed up invoices to bot farms, POs, to consultants who specialize in laundering stories. And Maya called it, "Isn't just Helix Forge a media conglomerate, and 2 subsidiaries are paying to amplify the smear, and a school safety vendor is vacuuming student data under the flag of protection." That was the twist. The one that makes your stomach turn. The thing you defend is the thing getting mined. And I said we pivot. We don't lead with me, we lead with the program and the people it hurt. Then if we must, we show them the gas pump and the jar. There's always a lever. The second you stop covering up and start aiming for me. It was a dance track that sampled the girls' voices and hit 100,000 shares. Kindness turned into a joke, because that's how cowards make it small. We set the clock 48 hours, verify twice, synchronize 16 outlets to publish within a minute in the window. I got nudges, a state office suddenly curious about my taxes, my motel decided my room wasn't available after noon. I moved, kept typing. Maya pulled in 2 forensics folks and a pro bono crew in a co-working space across from a pawn shop. We drew lines on paper from shell companies to ad tech vendors to politicians with polished smiles, hashed every file 3 times because with a truth this big you only get one clean swing. 9:01 a.m. Tuesday, the stories landed like rain, not about me, about us. Leaked docs. Reveal national scoring system, shaping life outcomes without consent, law enforcement access disguised as analytics, and Maya went live. Holding binders told a mother's story about job calls that dried up after a shadow score. Labeled her low compliance, a teenager whose offers vanished because his neighborhood got tagged. Volatile, she played audio of Mason's voice, that smooth executive tone. It would be a shame if this Cottonwood situation got worse for the girls, wouldn't it? And parents didn't need translations. Menace is a universal language. The market did what markets do when they smell fire. Helix Forge dropped like a stone, and by mid-afternoon, The black windbreakers with the gold letters walked through revolving doors. With warrants, I watched from a laundromat, with dryer lint on my fingers, and felt a quiet relief I didn't trust enough to name. Calls changed old friends, former engineers, my sister, who had been tired of loving me in public. She said she saw the clip, said she was proud, then laughed so hard she snorted, and I forgave a whole country of moments in one breath. That night, a local station sat Zoe and Zuri and their mom Nadia under bright lights. The girls were shy for 6 seconds. Then Zoe leaned into the mic we helped, because helping is for everyone. It's not like a club, Zuri added. If you can do a little, do a little. If everyone does a little, it's a lot. And Nadia stared down the lens. My girls didn't ask if Mr. Ward was important. They saw a neighbor if somebody powerful threatened us for being kind. That tells you who they are. 6 months later, I rented a cheap office in Austin with a window over a playground and hung a paper sign, the Z&Z Promise Fund. We don't take clients, we take cases, whispers turned into files. Not all of them held water enough did. A shipping firm, price fixing during hurricane season. A university selling merit to donors. A vendor scraping faces from family albums. Regulators wrote fines with more commas than I used to see in press releases. Prosecutors put handcuffs on men who thought subpoenas were just a kind of mail. We funded a digital library at Riverside, told the kids the closest thing to magic is a public records request. People ask about Mason. He took a deal, pulled it, took another. He'll spend more years inside than he spent as CEO when the judge asked for last words. He tried to borrow redemption, said 2 kids in Arkansas taught him ethics better than 2 business degrees. Forgiveness isn't my coupon to hand out, but I believe in people who change when the mask finally cracks. I went back to Cottonwood one gray Saturday bake sale under a church awning. A kid tried to sell me 2 brownies for $10, and I told him he was headed for the Senate. Zoe and Zuri counted change for a field trip. We still have. You're 20. Zuri said. Serious, in case someone needs it again. Keep it safe, I told her. Money is only money. But the idea that you can reach over a line and lift someone with what you can spare that currency doesn't crash. So was I brave or reckless? Did I blow the whistle to protect those girls or fix my name? Do ends justify? Means when you use old back doors to rip shutters off a house you built. I have answers. I believe you might have different ones. That's fine. We should argue about power and privacy, and the algorithms that pretend to be neutral while they pick winners. But I'll tell you this, if your plan requires hurting children, your plan is trash. And if your progress only works when nobody reads the fine print, it isn't progress. If you stayed with me to the end, thank you. Tell me in the comments if I was right to leak, if Mason was right, that some secrets are too heavy for one person. If you've seen the soft kind of bullying, where the paperwork smiles while it squeezes, share what you lived. Push back on my blind spots, and if you've got a Zoe and a Zuri in your neighborhood, tell them I said their little jar might be the richest bank on earth. Now hit subscribe if you want more messy justice, real people, and moments where everyday kindness blows a hole in a wall everybody swore was solid.